Today I want to take advantage of the fact that, first of all, um, the kids are being quiet right now. The one is asleep, the other one is out of the house. So let's go ahead and tackle a kind of boring but pretty important um, thing that I use when I am doing any kind of my due diligence for any kind of real estate property. Um, these are usually the steps that I do to, first of all, verify the information, whether it's something that someone's telling me, like if I've reached out to a seller and they're just giving me information right then and there in the conversation, or if I'm looking at something that's on market with a realtor, or um, just because I'm curious and I can. So let's walk through, first and foremost, I want to make the disclaimer. I'm going to be walking through how to find property information for the county of Marion County in Florida. Naturally, this could vary according to where you live, where it is that you're researching, but I have been able to find at least some of this information no matter where I look. So I've been helping people out, literally looking stuff up across the country, and it doesn't really matter. It could be something that's out of state, it could be something that's a property that's here. You're still going to be able to find some things. Now, because I'm in Florida, a lot of the stuff that we have here is very open format. Like it's very accessible. There's a lot of available information because Florida makes public records super wide open. But aside from that, um, you should you should still be able to find something. It's going to be very, very rare, in my opinion, that I find out that I'm not able to access something. Now, it's possible that maybe you're not able to access it online. I'm not sure why we're still doing that, but okay. So, like, even if you have to physically go into the office, but the times that I am not able to find something online just right off the rip, I will call the office and I usually will start ping ponging the different county offices and seeing who I can get the right information from. The reason why I emphasize this is for two things. Actually, for three. One, trust but verify. When someone is giving you information, feel free to trust what they're saying, but verify the facts. So that means that if someone is telling me that they own the property, that's great. I'm going to try to verify that. Um, and it's important to do so for a multitude of reasons, especially when you're either investing or you are wholesaling. It's important to verify the information that you're receiving. Secondly, when you're doing this stuff, there's a lot of platforms that are going to offer you convenient, beautiful looking services. Obviously they cost money, but the services are going to be to take the information that I'm about to give you and they first of all pull it in order to locate it. They once they've located it from the counties or the cities or whatever, they find that information, they pull it, and then they display it. So they're providing that information to you. It comes at a premium, it comes at a cost. Um, you don't have to pay for this. This stuff is out there. And even if it's not super readily available, um, like how it is here in Florida, that doesn't mean anything. Like it's still out there, and there's like the Freedom of Information Act. You can literally make any request to, you should be able to make requests for public records to a public governing agency, and they should be able to provide that to you or clearly express to you or explain to you why not, or explain to you the procedure for that. So you don't have to pay for it. It's out there. It's slow, it's annoying, it can be tedious, but it's also free. And this is one of the big ways that I source out my leads for wholesaling or investing, or for other people that I'm working together with, doing JV partnerships or whatever the case may be, to help them find their first deal or to help them find a buyer. Like this is a lot of the same stuff that I do as well. That's the second reason. You don't have to pay money for it. Um, the third is because a lot of the services that you do pay for, whether it be PropStream, Batch Leads, PropWire, those services, like I said, they're pulling data from somewhere. They're going to be pulling the data either from data providers like CoreLogic, they're going to be pulling that information from somewhere in order to be able to tabulate it and present it to you. So unfortunately, what that means is one of the very viable and one of the best options for lead generation, especially when you're starting out, especially when you don't have the funding, the budget to be spending on a bunch of softwares or list generation and all that type of stuff, is government lists. Government lists being evictions, code enforcement, water shutoff, probate, lis pendens, which in Florida would be, it's like the literal translation of like pending legal action, which could be like pre-foreclosure. Divorces can fall under that as well. Like there's all of these different types of government lists that are available under public records that you wouldn't really know to look for unless you decided to go look for them directly through the county. And not only that, but the service providers like PropStream are always going to be delayed. So, whereas, let's say you're looking or targeting pre foreclosures, which is very common. Obviously, pre foreclosures happen all the time. People will fall back on their mortgage payments all of the time. This is not something that's new. It's not something isolated. It's not, you can count on the fact that this is going to be happening. However, by the time that PropStream or Batch Leads or whomever receives that information from the data providers, it's probably been about 2 weeks now that the information was out there. So from the time that the mortgage company actually says, all right, we're going to file for pre-foreclosure, like this is it, this enough is enough, we've had no word from the seller, whatever the case may be, they go forth and they file that paperwork at the clerk of the court's office. When it's recorded, it will be immediately available. Like, say you're able to get to that stuff online, if there's online access for that county in particular, it'll be there the day that they file it. Or maybe, like, let's say they have a policy or a procedure or whatever that they actually post the images like the next day. Fine, whatever. PropStream won't receive it, even though it's been filed today here in the county. PropStream isn't going to receive it for probably another 2 weeks. By the time that you see it on PropStream, I could have already seen it 2 weeks ago, which means I would have already reached out to the seller. I could have possibly already had this conversation with the seller, and I've possibly already gotten it under contract, whereas your data is lagged. So those are the three big things, in my opinion, of the three. My own personal oh my gosh, I had a total brain fart. My first thing that I like to do is trust but verify. I do my due diligence. I check and see what is it's out there. I like to use services that are free. My goodness, what is this? I like to use services that are free or extremely low cost because I'm trying to keep myself on a budget. And third, it's going to be the most accurate information you can find. So all of that to say, we're going to be working through how to get to public record information. I'm going to show you a couple of different things that you may not know about. I'm going to be working specifically with Marion County in Florida today, which is like Central Florida, Ocala area. Actually, northern Central Florida. That's like the Ocala area. I had somebody who asked me about that, and she was asking like, where are your, like, how do you find your leads? What do you think is the best source of leads? And I told her, I said, go back to public records. So I just happened to be pulling up Marion County already. I was like, you know what? I'm going to share this with everybody because I feel like a lot of people don't know about this stuff. So let me get myself small here, and then I'm going to pull up for Marion County. Now, within Marion County, you're going to find a few things. When you're looking for simply the information for a particular piece of property, if you have an address, you can use the address to search for the property record information. If you know a cross street, for example, if you know that it's at the corner of Main Street and Apple Avenue, you can actually pull up a map and locate all of the parcels in that county and then zoom in to that particular area until you find the property that you were curious about. So that could be something that you do for reverse driving for dollars, or actual driving for dollars where you're going out there and you're trying to drive past properties, or if you're driving in general, you see a property that you might be interested in and you just jot down the information really quickly, and you're trying to now backtrack to figure out who's the owner, what's the situation with it, whatever the case may be. So if you have the address, you can do it. If you only have a map, you can do that too. If you have owner information, you can look it up like that and see how many houses a person owns, or whatever the case may be. So, what do we want to do? Let's do something super random. Let's look for a for sale by owner that would just be listed out here on um, Zillow, for example, because this is a really common place that somebody will go to if they want to. Sorry, I have to go to buy. My bad. This is something very common that somebody will go to if they're trying to find a home they want to buy directly from the owner, and they're not looking to um, pay a realtor or whatever the case may be. So let's see. This should be the same area. We're going to clear our filters out. We're going to do for sale. The price I don't really care about because I literally just want to find a place. Let's do like a 3-2. That's a pretty standard house. And I'm going to go down here under more, and I'm going to do by owner and other. So I'm going to select here for owner posted. I'm not going to do agent listed, new construction, foreclosures. You can do it. It's fine. It doesn't really matter. But like I said, it's going to be most accurate going through the public records. Property status coming soon. I don't want to see that. Pending and under contract, I'm not interested in. If it's already under contract, then I have no interest in calling these people. I do not want 55 plus. I find there's a really limited buyer's pool for that because obviously you have to be 55 plus, and most times it's an HOA, and HOAs can be $30,000 million a month, and I don't want to do all that. So let's say now we have this little list right here, and this is going to show me some different properties out there, right? So let's say this one in particular. This one is listed for $350. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's out in Ocala. It's 2,000 square feet. This person who's listing it is the owner on record, who will be, well, supposedly, trust but verify. This is the owner on record who is selling this property. So if I wanted to reach out to this person, I would be trying to figure out what their name is, because without their name and their information, I can't find a phone number. If I can't find a phone number, then short of actually driving out there, which I can't because I'm like 3 hours away from Ocala or something like that. I'm not there. I obviously wouldn't really have a choice unless I have a partner who's there, who's able to go out and put like a sticky note on the door or something like that. So these are all the posted photos from the homeowner. You can tell they're kind of amateur. They're kind of a little bit low quality. And the only reason why I say it is not a knock to the owner. The only reason why I say that is, like, to me, it's another indication of the fact that it truly is a for sale by owner versus like an agent listing where, like, obviously this person tried. They took nice photos. But nowadays, especially a realtor, you almost always have professional photography done. So almost every single property that I've seen, anyways, in the very recent years, unless it's a busted property, like a distressed property, they've got professional photos done. So here's their description, blah, 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 what the homeowner loves about it, blah, 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 blah. Now, this is a phone number that Zillow has assigned to this person in order for them to receive inquiries about their property. You can call it. There's nothing wrong with it. I would verify this. Like, if the person gets on the phone and you decide you're going to continue this conversation, I would verify their phone number, their preferred phone number. And I would just say, hey, I'm calling you off of Zillow, but like, I know this is probably not your actual phone number. Can you please provide me with your phone number so that way I can save it in my phone? Or whatever the case may be, and they're probably gonna be like, oh yeah, that's right. Like, I forgot, Zillow doesn't have my phone number publicly listed on there. And it's another way to get into the conversation with them. But let's use this house as an example. So this is going to be 1300 Northwest 63rd Place in Ocala. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to look for Marion County's property appraiser's office. The property appraiser's office is going to be the office in the county that actually holds the records for all of the parcels, buildings, vacant lots, whatever, within the actual county. This is their job. They literally hold the records. Excuse me, they don't hold the records. They actually are the ones who help assess to see what your property is valued at in order to generate the dollar amount that you owe for your taxes. The tax collector then takes that information and generates a bill. So you pay your money to the tax collector, but the property assessor or appraiser is going to be the one who determines, okay, this is how much the bill is going to be. Then the tax collector turns around and says, oh, okay, cool. This bill is X amount of dollars. Let me generate an invoice. Let me generate a bill. I'm going to send this to the property owner so that they know what they have to pay for this year. And then they're responsible for bringing that money in. The clerk of the court is generally the office for the county that is going to take the physical paperwork, like the literal paper that says, I, Erica, am the owner of this property located at 123 Main Street. I purchased it, or this individual, Erica, purchased it from John Smith on the 1st of January of 2025, whatever. They take that physical piece of paper, like the ownership paperwork, and they record it within the books and certify it with the county as far as the records go. And a lot of times, especially in Florida, those three offices work hand in hand. So the property appraisers communicates a lot with the tax collector's office. The tax collector's office communicates a lot with the clerk of the court. The clerk of the court has a lot to do with like most of the processes amongst the offices themselves. So anyways, now we're here at the property appraiser's office. I'm trying to find now the property owner information for that house that we just pulled up randomly on Zillow. So I'm going to go right here to the property search. I'm going to say, okay. It's going to give you a disclaimer, this, that, and the other. Don't sue them because blah-de-da. I understand and I accept. And then it's going to give you these options for how you want to access the information for that particular property. In my case, we have the address because we searches the physical address which only exists on improved parcels. So improved parcels, meaning a parcel, a blank piece of raw land that has been improved. Something was built on it. It could have been a warehouse, it could be a house, it could be an office building, it could be a hospital, whatever the case may be. If it was improved upon by building something on it, it will show up with a physical address that you can then plug in here and search for. So 1300 Northwest 63rd Place. Now, typically, the less you search, the better. You don't want to be super specific. You want to be less specific so that you can get the most amount of results. Some sites are kind of weird. Like you could just simply put 1300-63 and it'll pop it up for you. So if you start having problems, just simplify your search. So now we find here parcel number, owner name, situs address, which is literally the address of the property that we were looking up, which is this one right here for Ocala, off of Zillow. And it gives you the acreage of the property, which is 1.11. It just so happens to be that house sits on a 1.11 acre lot. So right here, it's pretty self-explanatory, but it's kind of important to understand these things, because as you understand these portions, it'll make more sense as you move forward. So the parcel number, there is for every single individual piece of property in a county or municipality being a city. In every city or county, every single little piece of property is going to be assigned a parcel number. The parcel number equates to like the social security number for that particular parcel within the county. So just like you have a social security number, I have a social security number, those are our ID numbers. You know, this would be like the equivalency of that for a particular property. Every property will have its own. So if I own two lots and they're side by side, unless I go through the process of asking the county to merge those lots together so that I'm no longer two little lots, unless I make it one big lot by going through the county, it will have two parcel numbers. That's what's happened here. This individual lives on a lot that is 1.11 acres. This is their big lot, it's 1.11 acres, and its entirety, the dirt plus the house itself, that's the ID number. The parcel ID number is that 1470 number. That's right there. If you called the property appraiser's office, the tax collector, the clerk of the court, anything that has to do with that property, as far as the government is concerned, as far as the county is concerned, or like the city, you can reference back to this parcel ID number and you're going to find that property. Just like if you're in the middle of trying to find an individual and say you had to run a background check on somebody, you run that background check on them typically, I think, I mean, I don't know, but I think you run that background check according to somebody's social security number. Same thing. The homeowner information is going to be right here. Obviously, like I said, site address. So let's get into it. When you hit the link for the parcel number, it's going to generate for you a property record card. This is all of the stuff that is reflected on the county website for this particular property. Now, I could literally go into the weeds here talking about this stuff, but I want to hit on a couple of these things because I feel like nobody ever talks about this, and unless you go out and look for it, you really don't even know that it exists. So on a very high level, you would use this information from this particular website to find the homeowner's information. When you have the homeowner's information, you can then turn around and find their direct information to reach out to them and actually physically call them. Okay? Both of those are tasks that you can do for free. You don't have to provide. You don't have to get a provider for this. You don't have to pay for PropStream. You can do this stuff for free. It's just kind of slow and it's a little bit old. As you can see, it's not the prettiest page ever, but it has so much information on here. It's absolutely astounding. So let's look at it a little bit closer. This is the same property ID number that we had just pointed out on the previous page. Google Street View is kind of cool because like they have a lot of options. A lot of the different ones will, I blocked it. A lot of the different counties will offer different options as far as this goes. You know, you can have the street view right here, like that. This is what Marion County has decided to offer. And then they also have like the map it thing, which is, this is the map I was talking about, that the county will provide a large searchable interactive map of every single parcel in the county that they have available. So this is the one that we were just talking about for John, Mr. Berlin. If you clicked on the next door neighbor, you would see that his neighbor's name is Charles White. It's the, well, excuse me, the neighboring property is owned by Charles White and the Dignora Family Trust. On Mr. Berlin's opposite side, that parcel is owned by Latanya Gordon. And you can literally do this with every single individual property in the county using this map. You can click in, you can click out, you can go all the way out to friggin' the sky. But anyways, anytime that you click on them, it'll show you that little pop-up and it'll give you a little like snippet of information. As you go down here, this is who I want to search for. I'm going to look for the owner which is John Berlin, as we already designated, we've already determined that. It's also owned by Lisette Figueiredo. Yeah, I think that's how you say that. These are the values that the county has determined that this gentleman's property is valued at. So at the point that the tax bill comes out, the tax bill is going to be according to these values determined by the property appraiser's office. This is not market value. Please do not use this as market value when you go to determine how much should I be making my offer to the seller for. This 183,000, which is what they're talking about. I wonder, let me see, total assessed value. This like total assessed value, total just value right here. This total just value line where it says 221,000. This one right here. That's all of this stuff added up together. This is not necessarily fair market value. What does that mean? The value that the county has assessed a particular property does not necessarily equate the value of the home if you put it on the market with a realtor today. A lot of times, this is actually lower. So when you go to like put it on the market and you run comps, you will find that if the house is in pristine, beautiful condition, compared to the other ones in the same area that have sold in recent months, the comps are going to show that the property's fair market value is probably going to be higher than 221. Okay. Now, I don't know. Remember what this gentleman has it listed on Zillow for. He's got it listed for 350. I don't know, because I am as brand new to this house as you are, whether or not this house is actually going to comp at 350. But I think it's fair to point out, Mr. Berlin is paying taxes based off of this number, $221,759. Total just value. That is not the same as market value. Please keep that in mind. Don't go out there using this 221 as your end all be all for your ARVs and for your wholesaling and for your 70% rule and your 1% rule and whatever the case may be, because you're going to go to your buyer or you're going to get cussed out by your seller because you're looking foolish. It's not the same thing. So you can go down here. One of the things that I love to see about this is, just for my own curiosity, a lot of the counties will show the transfer history, the sales history for the property. In this particular case, these folks purchased this property. Let's see. Yeah, the last sale was in 2014 at a value of 32,000. It should have been improved upon, which means that by that time, the house was already on there. They bought it for 32,000. So let's consider that Mr. Berlin actually gets to sell his house for the 350. That means that he is earning a profit of like $320,000. If he sold it for 350, he's going to end up walking away with equity of $320,000, dang near, because that's how much it is after he deducts the amount of money that he paid for it back in the day. So that's pretty intense. Another fun little tidbit is you can go over here, look at the book and the page information. This is where one of the instances that I was telling you about, where the county offices work together hand in hand very closely. The property appraiser's office is offering this link to the document out of courtesy. It's really just for your convenience. They don't have to do this, and they're not the custodians of this paperwork. They are literally just doing this to be kind. But this is the literal deed showing that this property was purchased. And if you look a little closer, you see special warranty deed made between Fannie Mae blah de da. Oh, you know what? So it's probably they probably have owned it for longer than that. I wouldn't be surprised. This is probably something. I'm probably wrong. I think this is this one that was in 2014. Mr. Berlin and his wife may have owned it for a longer time. Maybe this was like a HELOC. Maybe they took a loan out on the house because that would make sense. Let me see. Maybe mm, no. Let's see. Interesting. Certificate of sale. Huh. Maybe these people foreclosed on this house, and that's how Mr. Berlin ended up with it. I'm not sure. Um, don't get too tied up on this. You're trying to find lead sources for sellers who might want to sell the house to you. But anyways, it's kind of cool because you can see the legal documents that actually led to the person obtaining the ownership of this property. Um, it also shows you building information. Like this is the literal layout of the house. This is like the exterior walls of the house. And then like the garage, the back porch, the front porch, like where the front door is right here, which matches to what they described in the photo. And it'll tell you characteristics for the property. It'll confirm for you that the house is actually concrete block, like he said it was. It's 1,296 square feet under air, which means that that's how much living space there is inside the house. However, outside you have like a tiny little porch, like a little overhang, and the garage as well. So the little roof that goes over the front door, the roof most likely that goes right over the back porch, and then this 483 square feet is the square footage of the garage, which is the two-car garage. And if you add all of that stuff together, you get the total square footage of the building as a whole. So this house also shows, like this county will show for you that the house is on a septic system. It has a well for the water, and they have some paved concrete for like the different stuff, whether it be the back porch, the driveway, whatever. Um, there's a lot of stuff on here that you can keep looking at. You can look at permits, which is amazing to be able to verify online, especially when you don't feel like calling or if the office is closed or it's not available. You can search for the permit in each county for the most part, to verify things like when was the last time that the roof was replaced, when was the water heater replaced. These things are going to help you determine the condition of the home. Um, it's going to help you determine whether or not there's a lot of things that the house needs to have replaced just because it's been 30 years. Things get old just from normal everyday use. So you can do a permit search, which I love. This stuff is so fun for me because it just is. Now, remember, I had said you can usually search by address, but if we really wanted to be fancy, we could come and pull this 1470 number and paste it in here and search like that, and it's going to take me straight to Mr. Berlin's records. So these are the two permits that he has. This is probably the first one that was done. Another little fun fact, the first four numbers, if it looks like this, it's probably the year that the permit was issued. This is probably a home built in 2004. Let's go back and verify that, which means I can look on the assessor's website, go down to the building information. Oh, and it should tell me what year it was built. Roof style, blah, 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 blah. Blue, 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 blue. Yeah, that's the one that it has here. Single family residence, 2004. So that's probably when the house was built. And then this one, 2015, is most likely when they did some work to the AC unit on the house, which in Florida is so important, so important, which like 2015 to 2024, it's already like a 9-year-old system. So love that for you. If it's still working, might want to keep an eye, just keep an eye on that. So anyways, this is now the property owner's information. You have now gathered their names because you found John Berlin and Lisbeth, Lisette, him and his wife. You have both of their names. This is their actual address that's listed right here, which means this is their primary residence, more than likely. Like they should literally probably live here. And there's also ways to verify that as well. But in this particular case, like I feel confident in saying this is their primary residence. You've determined that they purchased it at some point in time, probably at least 10 years ago. You've determined that the house is a concrete block, fairly large, on 1.1 acres, and it should be in okay condition. There's no permits out there saying that there's like massive work done to the property to make it top of the line and brand new, but there's really nothing out there that indicates to me that it should be a totally distressed property. Now, people do work on homes all the time. They could have very easily renovated on this house and done work to it or done work on it without pulling a permit. It's very possible, but it's kind of nice to be able to see these things. And you were also able to determine it's on a septic system, so it's not on city sewer. It's not on city water because it's on a well system. And what was the other thing? Yeah, the driveway. It's paved. Like it's got those paved parts on it. So yeah, this is great. This is stuff that is insane that you're able to even access this. Now, you can, like I said, use this parcel information and pull up how much their taxes are. And the reason why I want to do that is because I want to see whether or not the taxes are delinquent. Is when the taxes are delinquent, to me, that indicates a level of distress. It may not be. They may just have held off on paying for it. Maybe they were planning on selling and just hadn't gotten to paying the bill yet because they knew they were anticipating selling or whatever the case may be. Or it could be the fact that it's like completely backed up on taxes, totally delinquent. And that could be a pain point for somebody because what if they don't have, six, seven, eight, $10,000 worth to pay up and get their taxes back up to date? I'm really liking Marion County right now. I've never been on this website. I've never done this before, not with Marion County. And I love that everything that they have is linked. So I clicked on this right before I said this last little bit of sentences. And I wanted you to see that I clicked on this tax and assessments. And it did take me to the tax collector's website for Marion County. They're going to tell you, like, you got to do this stuff, blah, blah, blah. I agree. This is the tax roll search results. I wonder if I can zoom in on this a little bit so that you can see a little bit clearer. This is a tax roll from the tax collector's office. So this is what shows you whether or not Mr. Berlin is delinquent or not on his taxes for the current year. Property taxes run like a year behind, just like your income tax reports are. So we are in the year 2012, but we're actually still looking at 2023 tax year. So this is the current tax bill and it is paid. So right here, it tells you that the status is paid. This is the account number. And a lot of times you can actually even get like the copy of the bill, or like a copy of the receipt. I've seen both. Yeah, see, so this is like all of them from 2009, like the records from 2009 onward, and all of the associated tax bills, including the current one for 2023, which all of them are paid. If it was not paid, it would say so. If it was not paid, it would say so. So, again, this is the tax collector's bill for this particular gentleman, for this particular parcel number, at this particular site address, and it was paid as of, I think they paid it on November the 1st. Good for them. That's literally the first day of the tax year. That's great. So, yeah, this is it. From here, man, there's so much we can show. I think I'm going to break up the video because right now we're at 40 minutes. So I want to make it a little bit easier for you all to be able to reference back to this a little bit quicker, a little bit easier as a reference point. So I'm going to do my best to separate this into chapters so that way you're able to come back to it later on whenever you have a moment, or like if you're actively searching on there and you want to look back and say, well, hey, how did I even find that in the first place? I want to separate out by chapter. So I'm going to stop this video here. Thanks so much for watching. Hit a like if you like it, hit a dislike if you don't like it, hit me a comment down below. I'd love to hear more about what it is that you want to learn about. I would be happy to share whatever information I can. Let me split this one up. I guess we'll make this probably like part 1. I'm going to keep recording. The next video will be talking about how I can then turn around and take this particular property information and find the owner's contact information for free so that I can reach out to them and inquire to see whether or not they are interested in selling the property and if they would be interested in selling it at a discount. They may not have any need to do that, but this is how you could do it for free. And if all else fails, it would still be a great exercise in getting to know somebody, getting on the phone, building rapport, and seeing how you can serve them. So this will be part 1. I'm going to cut this video off. I'll make sure that I post it. I want to do the titles. And then part 2, we're going to keep on going from there and looking into how do we actually find their information so that we can open the conversation with them. Alrighty, I'll be back. Talk soon. Let's get to work.